Alrighty. Yes. Thank you, H. Jax. He is indeed in Code S Season 2. So, welcome back. We are into game number 2 at Dreamhack Open in the Stage 1 match between these two Protoss players. Some high caliber Protoss action going on. We are into game number 2 on Belshir Vestige. Starting up at the top left-hand side as our orange. Is that the orange one? Yeah, that's the orange one. As our orange Protoss player playing for Optimum Esports, it is Mist. And his opponent down at the bottom right hand side, executing a nicely done DT rush in the previous game, getting almost getting a kill off a Nexus straight away, which was something you don't get to see too often. It is Squirtle. So we'll see what happens here with Squirtle can certainly do the same kind of build again. Like that, the thing about that DT build is that it's not always something that you need to get a massive amount of damage with. Like a lot of the time, people seem to think that with DT builds, you have to kill 7,000 workers, you have to kill the natural nexus, all these sorts of things. The thing with DTs is that they're very powerful, not only because they can certainly do a lot of damage, but they can also give you a lot of map vision. If you consider DT down here and control this Zelnaga Watchtower and all the vision that it gets for free, basically, because your opponent won't be able to control it for quite a while, that's quite a nice little tool to have in your arsenal. The other factor about DTs is that it makes your opponent think that you may be sneaking them in from time to time, and a lot of people will try and compensate for that before they go back to their regular sort of path. So we'll see what Mist is going to do. He may change things up, and in fact he certainly is going to. A second gas goes down before the cybernetics core. And it looks as if we'll probably get a little bit more of a standard game out of him. I would love to speak to Mist and say what made you go for that sort of the play we had in the previous game. So, but either way, we'll see what happens. Squirtle going very similar to his opponent. Cybercore for Mist, where is it? He's actually, yeah, I was going to say, that's a little bit delayed compared to where Squirtle was, but Squirtle actually had a little bit of an earlier gate there, so very nicely done by Squirtle. So he's going to start us out with a quick Zealot, the Cybernetics core also on the way. And yep, as H-Jax pointed out, designed to kill a fast expand, that's true. Squirtle with a second gateway on the way. So Squirtle's going to have a little bit of a faster warp gate tech here, so he may be looking for some kind of push pretty quickly off the mark, but the Zealot moves out. In fact, he cancelled the Zealot. This is very Squirtle-esque, is to build a unit like a Zealot. He does this in PvZ as well. When he opens up, he will build a Zealot, and then once his Cyber completes, if the Zealot is still in production and there's no sort of rushes on the way, he'll cancel the Zealot and get started with the Stalker. So very nicely done by Squirtle there. It's like, I'm not saying it's like a high level kind of play, but it's just it's a smart way to play. Prepare yourself for any kind of rush, and then at the last second, as soon as you can, cancel, and you can go into you know, a normal sort of Stalker based play. So he is going to give us a well, it was originally going to be a 3 Stalker, I thought, but no, he's actually going to go into double Sentry. So it looks as if Squirtle may want to expand. However, for Mist, he's got his own Twilight Council going down at the back of the base. Of course, that is going to be very difficult to spot for Squirtle, but if he can possibly push just along the side here and make his way up, he should be able to see that. So we'll keep an eye on Squirtle's mothership and see which direction this goes in. Where is the, is there a Stalker out? Yes, it is. There is a Stalker for Mist. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be able to save the day. Actually, oh wow, very nicely done. Mist, not afraid of that mothership core, puts the Dark Shrine down. I was going to say, we're probably going to see a Dark Shrine from Mist, and he goes down that particular path. So a DT expand build here from Mist, very cleverly done. He's going to take it back, and he says, Squirtle, you DT rush me, I'm going to do the exact same thing to you. And back at home for Squirtle, he's got his own Twilight Council, obviously a lot later than his opponent, but I would say we're probably going to see just a normal sort of safe sort of build from Squirtle with probably with Blink And now we can see that Mothership Core is finally making her way up. He's going to see that, and he's going to say, uh-oh, I need some sort of detection. So very quickly, we see Squirtle starting up a robo facility. So he's going to be able to get an observer out, but the big question will be, will it be in time? Because Mist Dark Shrine is just about to finish. He's got a proxy pylon down here as well. A couple more gates now finally being added in. So Mist is playing a build that lets you be annoying with DTs, but doesn't necessarily cripple your economy, because he's already got a Nexus out. So it's a pretty, really, like, I really like this build that Mist is using here. I might actually steal this. So we'll see how it goes, but obviously Mist a lot better than me when it comes to doing this kind of thing, but we'll see. DT's now making their way across. They are going to be a little bit annoying here at the natural expand. If he can perhaps try and hack down that Nexus, he may be able to get some damage there. But of course, what he's going to want to really do is get some damage done inside the main base. And wow, the Squirtle a little bit late with his force field. A DT makes its way inside, but that means it's also trapped inside with the sentries and the stalkers. And with an observer just popping out now, that DT has come to a quick end. Squirtle, he is still going to have to face a third DT inside the natural base, the one inside the main. Oh, wow. Are you serious? This DT, 2 health there. The other one down at the natural gets caught out by a couple of force fields. Very nicely done by Squirtle to block that DT in. But the one inside the main base did get to go to work. 4 kills on that guy. 5 kills in total, and that'll probably be it, because the Observer is on its way back across. And, well, you know, not too bad. 6 workers killed, but it was 3 DTs. So realistically, when you look at it, it's not the most sort of efficient trade for those DTs, but it has bought Mist some time. He's got his natural up and running. He's also got 42 workers to the 37 of Squirtle. And we can now see that Mist is just going to sort of transition across into a standard sort of game. We've got the Robo Bay now going down, so he's going to look to move across into the Colossus. Squirtle does have a proxy pylon here as well. Both players actually kind of building their proxies at the same sort of spot. It's quite funny to see. But we can see the Squirtle going down a slightly different path here. We have 2 Stargates building for Squirtle here. We'll see if our Korean player is going to throw out something a little bit interesting. I'm assuming that's going to be for Void Rays. I highly doubt you'd go for Phoenix at this point. It sort of seems a little bit late to try and throw out some Phoenix harassment. Oh, seems I am wrong. He's going to bring us out something a little bit different that you may not see all the time here, but he is going to switch us across into Stargate play. What does Mist have back at home to deal with this? Well, he's going to have Blink that is now researching there for Mist at the moment. He's got +1 to weapons on the way. If he can get a bunch of Stalkers out, he may be able to do something. Actually, no, he's still going with the Phoenix. Okay. Mist has actually seen every single thing that's going on here. So Mist cleverly is going to prepare for this by building up another 3 gates. That's going to allow him to get a whole bunch of stalkers out. This also means that he is going to be prepared for any possible counterattacks, but a Templar Archives is also on the way. Very intrigued by that decision from Mist. You can use Templar to feed back Phoenix, but generally that's I personally don't think that works too well against them. Mist is still not seeing this proxy pylon here. That's a little bit unfortunate for him. He's not going to see it till it's a little bit too late. But the first 4 Phoenix now making their way across the map for Squirtle. We'll see what kind of damage he can get done. 2 cannons inside the main base, and it looks as if we'll have some extra Stalkers now coming out soon as well. There are a few down at the natural base here. We'll see. I don't think he's going to research Storm. I don't know, I don't think Storm's worth it in this situation. The Phoenix now making their way inside the main base. A couple of cannons there to help defend against that. The Phoenix will get 1 or 2 kills. The thing about Phoenix in this sort of situation is that you can still do a little bit of damage even if there are cannons at the mineral line. You just have to be very careful with it. But Mist has now got a little bit of a problem down at his 3rd base. He's got 2 Immortals inside, some beautiful force fields there from Squirtle. Not necessarily the most efficient, but it has gotten the job done. And I think this 3rd base is not going to last too long. The Phoenix outside the main are just going to hang about for a moment. And it looks as if Mist is going to come across. He does cancel that. And looks like Squirtle is just going to recall back home. So we've got, well, you know, pretty interesting game going on between these two players. I'd say it is a little bit in the favor of Squirtle at this point. Interesting that he has not started any Void Rays back at home, but what he has done is switched across into the Colossus. So he threw out those Phoenix and tried to test the waters to see if Mist was ready to deal with that kind of thing. And for the most part, Mist has been pretty decent. He's got a lot of Stalkers out. He's got those cannons inside the main base here. And Squirtle trying to find a sweet spot to let those Phoenix go to work, but unfortunately there was just a little bit too much defense here. And now Mist has got a very interesting army. He's got mostly gateway forces. I'm just trying to think of... Yeah, I was going to say charge slots and Archons might be what he wants to move to at this point. Of course, he does have the Templar Archives to, you know, use up that leftover gas after you've been building some Zealots. So he may try and move into that. Now, the reason that having those Charge Lot Archons is really good is that Charge Lot Archon actually does a decent job against Colossi. But what it also helps with is Phoenix. He can't lift up the Archons, and the Archons will just tear apart your Phoenix if you have to deal with that. But we'll see, because Squirtle is now on 3 bases. He's going to have 6 gas mining. It looks as if Mist is going to move across. He really needs to get some damage done here. We're going to have a couple of, maybe 1 Archon, maybe a couple more will come in very soon. But Mist has got a decent ground army here. The problem is that he lacks a lot of power that Squirtle has. Squirtle's got 2 Colossi now out. He's got 2 Immortals there as well. And if Squirtle can move across quickly enough to save this base, then he's going to put himself in a very, very powerful position right now. The 3rd base did not get restarted by Mist, and it looks as if he is just going to try and go in here to get as much damage as he can. And Squirtle coming across 3 Colossi in total, 2 Immortals there as well. A Time Warp at the back. Squirtle caught out a little bit. Time Warps going off all over the place. I wish they were color-coded to the particular team that they were from. But Mist actually blinking forward, takes out 1 Colossus, but there are 3 more just continually reinforcing out. I think that is double Robo for Squirtle. And he does have a Stalker reinforcement now coming in as well. And that is probably it for Mist. I think he just sort of underestimated the tech that Squirtle had back at home. And the Colossus seal the deal for